Hey, welcome to the Thriving Minds podcast with your host, Walter Parada, where we strive to provide you with empowering talk so you can live to thrive. And today we'll be talking about mindset and why it's important. Mindset actually sets the tone for everything you do in your life, as it determines where you're going because of the things that you're focused on. And what you focus on is the driving force of where you put your energy to that eventually becomes a reality. So that energy you use through your thoughts, words, actions, and habits is a result of your life and what you work towards that gets you closer to your destination. So your mindset dictates how you go about things and the speed at which you operate. So it dictates your urgency. It's what makes you take action and when to do it. So if your mindset is to learn and grow, you continuously be looking for things that pique your curiosity and challenge you. And the difference between the people who get things done and those who don't is their action towards a specific goal. So it doesn't matter how big or small that goal is. It's just the effort of pursuing a certain aim that conditions them to strive for something more. And this could be something as simple as wanting to do 100 push-ups a day or reading an hour daily, or it could be growing or something as big as growing your business revenue to $6 million annually. So these specific aims help to figure out what action is needed to reach that goal. And when your mind is able to convey, your abstract thoughts into solid information, your focus becomes a lot more clear and it makes things a lot more attainable. So say you want more out of life. Now this could be very general and can cause you to pursue many things, right? Pursue more money, pursue more experiences, things like that. But you might not know if that's enough. But if you say that you want to live a fulfilled life and define it as, working with animals, well, it allows you to work towards it and know when you have arrived, right? Because you set a specific goal towards that. So your mindset determines how well you handle things, and it's going to affect the choices you make. So it tells you how to interpret the things you go through, what decision needs to be made that align with the mindset you have. And this is what gives you your perspective. So if your mindset is to enjoy life, then the obstacles that come your way are not going to seem as discouraging you from, enjoying the things in your life. And with the right mindset, you can overcome whatever struggles you experience. But with the wrong mindset, it can feel like it's too much to handle or that you have no power to make a difference. So when setbacks and failures occur, you're either going to want to give up or you're going to continue to push yourself to overcome it, And some will see struggles as problems that they want to limit to avoid as many mistakes as possible, whereas others are going to see it as an opportunity to grow and strengthen. So how you respond comes down to your perspective that's going to influence your decisions. So if you see things throughout your day, do you see things throughout your day of what has to get done or things you get the opportunity to get to do? Doing laundry can feel like a dread, but some are going to see it as an opportunity to have clean clothes for the upcoming week. I can still remember one of my aunts back in Honduras. She worked a full-time job washing clothes manually. And back there, they don't have as many washing machines as here in the U.S. But I remember she worked 6 days a week, 10-hour days, manually scrubbing clothes. And she would have swollen fingers and arthritis because of it. And one of her sons, once he started working, eventually saved up enough money and was able to buy her a washing machine. And I remember, when I got the news that she no longer had to manually wash clothes, I just heard she was super grateful for that gesture her son had given her. And she sees washing clothes as an opportunity to obviously, make a living, but in the way she gets to do it now, she gets to rest her hands because of that. So when you're able to see the things that you do as opportunities, the process becomes a lot more enjoyable. So your mindset determines how you feel about yourself and how you view the world. It's going to affect your confidence, your motivation, and your mood. So when you see good, you tend to feel good about yourself and how you see things. So even when, things like setbacks occur, your tendencies will be to find the good that will make you want to move forward, that continues to build momentum. This can give you a higher amount of energy and conviction in whatever you choose to pursue. So when your confidence is high, it maintains the calmness in your mind. When emotional highs and lows occur, that's not going to cloud your decision making, or is not going to cloud it as much. And sometimes it's the emotions that can dramatize things, but with a strong mindset, these emotions can be managed to see clearly and not feel as overwhelmed. I think back to the saying, things are never as good or as bad as they seem, and many times they're right in the middle. And when we talk about mindset, it really comes down to your set of beliefs that's going to shape your attitude, that impact how you think, how you conduct yourself, and how you view the world, right? So, and this all comes down to what you choose to focus on, and that's what's going to give you your perspective. So if you're not careful and intent on what you choose to focus on, the things around you will influence your mindset. And these are things like your environment, the people you surround yourself with, and what you choose to consume that's going to affect your thoughts and how you behave. And what I mean by your environment is what you directly see, on everyday basis, the things in your home, your neighborhood, your town, or where you do your daily activities. So these things all will leave a mental image that are going to influence your decisions in some way, and eventually you'll gravitate towards that. So if your environment is unorganized and hostile, or maybe it is organized and calm, it's going to mirror in your mindset. The people you surround yourself are also going to play a big part because they affect how you behave, because eventually their actions and habits have a tendency to rub off onto you. And many times people will surround themselves with others that give them the greatest comfort, even if that comfort is negative. I don't know if you ever found yourself that it's a lot more easier to complain to a friend about the problems you're going through, and the friend is going to want to hear you out. They want to make you feel better. And sometimes that friend can also feel the fire in complaining, right? Of validating, oh yeah, you know what, you are right. You did have a bad day. You did have a shitty encounter with whoever it was. But sometimes, or many times, this is actually conditioning you to associate that comfort and negativity together, and you'll be more likely to engage in these sorts of things. So when this happens, things tend to snowball into that type of behavior that you'll continuously want to engage in it. But what is easy is not what's always going to serve you well. So what you consume, such as the things you watch, read, and the things you hear, are going to influence your thinking. And many of us are searching for the things that we can relate to. We want to feel connected to it, which is why we pursue these kinds of things, right? So it could be hours of watching an entertaining show, reading or hearing content that piques our interest. And the more you engage in whatever you consume is what's going to get stronger. So whatever belief you develop, the more repetition of the things you encounter is eventually what gets stronger. It's just like a muscle. The more you use a particular muscle, your bicep, your legs, your chest, those are the things that tend to get stronger. And beliefs and thoughts are the same way. The more you believe it, the more you think it, is what's going to eventually overtake your focus. And all of these things of your environment, the company you keep, the things you choose to consume, are the things you tend to emulate eventually. I can remember the story my mom told me of once when I was a kid. I told her I couldn't wait to grow up, and she asked me, Why? I guess I told her, I wanted to be like my dad and drink beer because that's what I saw him do, and that's what he did most of the time. This eventually led my mom to divorce my dad because he didn't want to give up drinking. She understood that the environment I was in was one of where my role model was not going to serve me well. I probably would have gone that same path of my dad if my mom did not make this move for the better. And what's interesting about this is I don't remember ever telling her that or remember that experience. But subconsciously, as a little kid, I was adopting or conditioning myself to be aware of that type of behavior seemed to be okay. So your mindset is either an asset or a liability. It's either working for you or it's working against you. And you have to determine what your mindset is doing for you. If your mindset is focused on the can't, looking at limitations, only focusing on the results, finding the negative, looking at your past as an indicator, then your mindset is holding you back. It almost acts like a leech that's just sucking the energy from allowing you to focus on the things within your control. How can you achieve your aspirations and dreams if you don't believe that you can? So that hesitation and self-doubt just keeps you from taking action to actually make progress. But if your mindset is focused on what can be done, searching for solutions, looking at possibilities, focus on the process, and getting better, then your mindset is going to propel you forward in whatever you choose. It really, in a sense, is like a life coach. Once you have your mindset as an asset, it's going to uplift you when you're feeling down and get your head straight when your ego starts to take over. And it really empowers you to take initiative to make things happen. And for you to achieve whatever you want, it all starts with your mindset. And you must first believe it before you can actually achieve it. So that belief you have in yourself, it's what's going to get you through those hard times. We've been so conditioned to get results quickly that we have not developed enough patience to see things through. If you think back to, when you were in school, you get grades for your test, and teachers and parents can at times become so fixated on that outcome of that one moment in time that determines how they view you, right? But what ends up happening is they lose focus on the big picture that shows how much progress the students have made. So say you get a D in whatever, exam you got at one point. Teachers, parents, there's going to be a cause for concern, right? Wanting to get that child up to par. But sometimes just a little bit of time is needed to see how things progress, because we all develop at different speeds, right? Some a lot quicker than others. Others take time. So we've been conditioned in that sense to, okay, the work has been put in and we need to see results by this time. And because of these types of behaviors, and I think that's why it's so easy to eventually just settle for a steady paycheck. It comforts people into thinking that the results are validating their time and effort. This then makes it a little bit more difficult for people that want to venture off on their own, take the risk, and strive for something greater. But because they've been accustomed to needing to see results quickly, they can lose the patience of sticking through or sticking with it. But building the right mindset can help you overcome this need to see results so quickly. It'll prepare you to see things through and understand that the road will be long and hard, but with enough dedicated effort to whatever you choose to pursue, you can eventually make it happen. There are so many different types of mindsets, but generally they can be broken down into a fixed and a growth mindset. So a fixed mindset believes that your abilities and talents are fixed, and no matter how much time and effort you put into getting better, you can't improve yourself. So what you're born with is all that you're going to be. A fixed mindset is focused on the limitations and is highly resistant to change and is only validated when the desired outcome is reached. So the ego gets bigger and it makes it more difficult for them to be challenged and want to learn anything. And because of this, when things go wrong, there's a tendency to look to blame others and excuses for their shortcomings. They don't want to feel threatened, and this, in large part, is because of the ego. It doesn't want to feel. The ego wants to feel good by demonstrating its superiority, and it doesn't value effort. A fixed mindset will limit what you're capable of and tends to be a lot more emotionally driven, that can cloud how you view things, and it's going to affect the decisions you make. So if you're not aware of what type of mindset you have, there's a tendency to fall into this fixed mindset category. I remember I struggled with this growing up. I thought at one point, I wasn't smart enough, so I wouldn't strive for more. But eventually, through playing sports, I realized, hey, with enough passion and commitment, I could get better, So this made me realize, hey, I can translate the same concept to whatever I choose to pursue. I did not know it at the time, but I started to develop a growth mindset, and this had me thinking, hey, I might not understand this subject matter in school, but with enough focus and time to understand it, then I'll understand things a lot more. So a growth mindset believes that you can get better at whatever you choose to do, so that your skills and your talents are not limited. So it's built on the foundation of learning. So setbacks, mistakes, failures, they're just seen really as learning opportunities, and it's going to help build resistance to what is difficult. And when you can develop that resistance to what's actually difficult, it makes things not seem as daunting. And this growth mindset values consistent effort that is more satisfying than the outcome. So, and this actually helps you focus more on the process, where you have the ability to make huge strides. When you're able to put more energy into what you're doing, it actually increases your chances of performing well. I think back to what Michael Jordan says, focus like a laser, not like a flashlight. And this can allow you to divert a higher amount of energy to one thing, as opposed to half of your energy amongst so many other things. And when you do that, you're probably going to get half results because of that, right? You're not 100% focused on what you're doing. And this mindset tears away at the ego because it values learning over being right. So with a growth mindset and you find that you're wrong, it's not actually a big deal because you know that, hey, I just learned something new. And because of this, your emotions are kept in check. That allows you to see things a lot clearer. I think back to that one quote, that it's not the smartest, the strongest, or the fastest species that survive, but is the ones that can adapt to change the quickest. And the growth mindset allows you to adapt to change. When talking about mindset, it's important to know the difference between the brain and the mind. And many times they're actually used interchangeably. So the brain is a physical thing that, coordinates your movements, feelings, and different functions of the body. So the purpose of the brain is so we can survive by keeping our organs functioning. It keeps your lungs breathing and your heart pumping. You don't have to remind yourself to do these things. It's like being on autopilot. So the brain also keeps us safe, making us aware of dangers, which is why we pay attention to what is negative. The brain is actually designed not to make you happy, but it's designed to help you avoid pain. So when you pay attention to what is negative, your brain is actually doing its job of making you aware of how to avoid that pain. So if you think back to our ancestors, they had to navigate a lot more dangerous situations, they had to worry more about prevalent things like things that could kill them, such as animals, disease, having enough food, having the right kind of shelter. But today we still have those dangers, but they're not at the same level as it was, thousands of years ago. Instead, the dangers we commonly face are things like self-doubt creeping in, which is that's the brain's way of trying to keep us safe. So the brain does this to make you aware of the risks that could hurt you. It wants to protect you from damaging your self-confidence. You may want to pursue something really ambitious, like, curing incurable diseases, but your brain might remind you, or is going to remind you through doubt. And this is its way of telling you, hey, don't do it. That way we don't have to face all that struggle and damage how we feel about ourselves. The brain is a physical part. Your mind is actually your perception, your ideas, your reasoning, your memory. It is why you're curious, why you question, why you hope. And because of these thoughts, your mind generates energy that makes you alive and aware. And without the mind, you would just be physically present. So the more thoughts you have is what makes your brain neuroplastic. That's what gives you the ability to learn new things. And because of this, you have the ability to choose your actions when you think and feel, which is through your mind and not your brain alone. So this is why you can respond to whatever you encounter. Learning how to manage your mind really allows you to use your negative feelings such as anger, anxiety, sadness, and stress to your advantage because they signal something is wrong, that you can think through it to correct what's going on. Maybe what's bothering you needs to be handled in a thought out way to overcome the feelings going forward. Simply giving into being angry that leads you to want to yell and fight at whoever bothers you is going to be destructive to yourself. It's going to make you more defensive and hostile. So these feelings signal something needs to change, and you're the one that needs to determine how to best handle it. And that's, with the help of our minds. So the brain and the mind are not the same thing. The brain is fixed to keep you afloat merely just to survive and is not interested in learning, while the mind gives you the ability to adapt and overcome, to reach the possibilities that you can imagine so you can thrive. Unaware of both, and they're going to be working against each other, and it's going to leave you feel frustrated. So your brain will limit you from all your ideas, making you doubt yourself, while your mind is going to want more out of yourself and out of life. I think this is why many people play it safe, avoiding risk because they're unaware how the brain is holding them back just to get by. So even though they may be unhappy with their situation, the comfort that they feel in knowing what is familiar leaves them paralyzed to do anything. They're just happy to be there, or not happy, but content to be there. It's why so many people have dreams, yet they don't pursue them. The feeling of anxiety has not been rationalized to know what that the brain is doing its job of just trying to keep you safe. But once you can recognize that your mind and the brain are not the same, you have the power to learn to manage your thoughts and actions. You have the ability to choose what you embed into your brain and how to change what's already built in. So your brain makes you reactive and your mind makes you responsive. The difference is a reaction is impulsive, while a response is a well thought out action. So if someone bumps into you in a crowded event such as a concert, your reaction might be to push them. But what if that person tripped over something and your response gives them enough time to explain what happened? Well, now you just avoided a situation that was not intent on trying to harm you. With the right mindset, you can move beyond living to survive, of just getting by, settling for what is easy or comfortable, and live so you can thrive. Surviving means just feeling or doing okay, that you're fine taking what's given to you. You may want more, but there's a sense that you're just a passenger along for the ride. But when you live to thrive, you become empowered to steer your life wherever you want. You attack life with a tenacity that makes you feel invigorated, that anything is possible. And because of this, you understand that your past is not going to dictate your future, but it's the action you take that determine where you're going. You break free from needing to know if other people agree with you on what you're doing. You have enough confidence in yourself. What other people think are just irrelevant. Can you imagine if Jeff Bezos never started Amazon? He once worked for somebody else, and he told his boss at the time that he was going to start up a online bookstore. And his boss told him, "Hey, that's a bad idea. Just continue working here." But Jeff saw an opportunity and had enough belief in himself that he needed to venture off on his own. And once you have developed enough belief in yourself, these things such as uncertainty and not knowing what the next step will not seem as daunting because of the strength and calmness that you've developed. And you have to remember, building this type of mindset takes time. But once you can develop this type of mindset that empowers you to take action, you can learn valuable information and acquire skills that will get you to what you envision. In the process of learning, there will be times it takes longer than expected to catch on. But don't let that discourage you from continuing. And you can reach your dreams by continuously overcoming the challenges you face, enjoy the life that you build, and just live fulfilled. It's going to give you clarity of what's really important, so you don't have to worry about those irrelevant things. Building the right mindset starts with evaluating what type of mindset you have and if you're happy with it. If you're happy with it, all you need to do is just maintain and improve upon it. But if you're not happy with it, you can always change it. The fundamental thing that will change your mindset is to recognize what thoughts will lead to the action needed to get what you want. You must consistently focus on those thoughts that will strengthen your mindset. And one of the first things you must focus on are possibilities. It's an understanding that you might not be there yet, but you're working towards getting better. This means you're working on figuring out things and finding solutions. You're conditioning yourself to overcome things and understand that failure is not the opposite of success, but it's a part of it. And you must understand that when negative thoughts arise, that is just the brain naturally warning you of the risk involved. Use it to your advantage, so when self-doubt creeps in, it's just a tool and you challenge yourself to be better. So say you're about to make a sales pitch about your company and self-doubt tells you not to do it because you're not ready. Well, challenge yourself to be the most prepared so that it silences that negativity. See it almost as a speed bump that makes you pay attention of what's ahead. And when you recognize these types of thoughts, you can change your behaviors for the better. I hope this talk has served you well because they definitely helped me. Live to thrive. All right, until next time.